So this will be Gee stuff from almost a week ago, and then we'll be back to our regular schedule. I don't know. I guess maybe next week we'll jump back onto No Gi Mondays or whatever. Let's look our. Let's see. Net footage. Sorry. Updating our Twitch stream. Cool. Yeah. I'm sure you're happy, Justin. All right, let's get into it. Danny gave me a heads up that we're looking for him being irresponsible with his tapping at some point. So that'll be fun to look for. All right, so we got Tony and Jacob. Looks like they're drilling some Gi stuff down here. Danny off in the corner. So RJ and Camden. That should be a fun one to watch. And Justin.
Yeah.
Who's Justin going with?
Oh, Danny.
Oh, I thought Danny was in the corner here by the chat.
No, you're right. I don't know. I missed it.
So yeah, she is a super frenetic, dynamic little training partner. She's a fun one.
It's definitely looking like no game. Correct.
Yeah, correct.
Last Thursday.
Yeah, we'll have if the footage from Monday renders down, it's being funky, or iMovie's being funky. But if that renders down, then we'll go over that on Sunday, and then yeah, we'll get back to it. Pesky. Oh, I think he's with Aiden. Yeah.
Yeah.
Cool. So Justin is working his top half guard. And
notice that RJ and Camden went from the wall all the way down to the other end, and now they're about midway.
Literally from the windows to the wall.
Yeah.
All right. So Danny and Caleb.
What's up, Deathcore?
Awesome. Glad you like it, man. Those Komenu rash guards are pretty sweet.
I love them.
I'm glad it got there that fast. I put that in the mail on Monday. Cool.
Sweet.
All right. So what do we got? Camden and I think Aiden as well.
Yep. We got Caleb
and Danny.
And then Tony, and I apologize. I don't know this.
It's Jacob.
Jacob. Okay. I think I'm with Pat.
Yep.
Up here.
So Caleb's working on his heavy passing. Looks like it's working for him right now. Getting around Danny's guard.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, he got around the guard. Settling in, he's trying to look for something.
Yeah, so he's got the early makings of an arm triangle here, right? With his head between Danny's elbow and ribs. Danny's wise to that, though. Who's Aiden going with again? Oh, Camden. So Aiden's riding.
Weird positions lately.
Well, yeah, I mean, if you put him with Austin, especially,
yeah,
he just the two of them end up finding some weird spots. Jack, you're killing me, man. Can't be standing around the middle of the mat. So is Camden in on a? Oh no, Camden's in the triangle.
In the triangle, yeah.
Let's see. So Aiden gets it. Let's go back.
Got it. Yeah.
I just want to see, because Aiden was up in that really high mount here a second ago.
Mm-hmm. He slips it over, yeah, right there when he falls back on his butt.
He's on a bit of an angle, so he just cut his angle for the front triangle in the wrong direction, right? He wants to go towards that side. I mean, he got it anyway. It looked like he had his leg configuration pretty tight. What's going on with Danny and Caleb? If we could catch anything around Jack. I think Danny told me he was caught in an Americana and took it to the very brink of ouchies.
Oh yeah, that was towards the end. That was
Okay.
That was the last roll with them. Yeah.
Look at RJ. Watch this shot from way outside. on a guy well above her size.
Yeah.
Tony's really trying to work his snap down, but
Yep.
all right. Well, there they go. All right, I want to take it back to Caleb and Danny before they get. Okay, cool. So look at what Caleb's got here. He's working from not real, like a kind of a loose side control, right? And he steps over the head into, like, I guess, I mean, that's pretty much like he's got like a Yoko Senkaku, right? A little side triangle there. Actually,
I think so.
no, he's got, that's closer to a reverse triangle, because the locking leg is on the neck, right? Not under the armpit, which is the configuration for a reverse triangle. But really, I mean, there's no significant strangle threat, but he's using it to really control Danny's shoulders and look to isolate this arm. And Danny's, he's a bit of a wizard even in that position. Like, yeah, I'm not surprised to see him come up on top. And I think Caleb understands Danny will lock that triangle right around him too. That was a really good composure from Danny, and then working right to a pass. Right, he gets out. This is the cool thing. I think you saw when Steven had me in a reverse triangle yesterday. If you pay attention to when they're getting ready to either shift their legs to tighten their grip, or maybe they decide they don't have it, when they open their legs, like you're right there to control an ankle, just like Danny's doing here, and start working a pass or working a leg entrance. So it's a great time, like if their reverse triangle for whatever reason isn't working, as soon as they open up their legs, you have an excellent opportunity to counterattack. Going on here. All right, let's go back a second. So Aiden is working a very high side control, coming around to the dorsal Kimura. It looks like he's trying to finish the Kimura. Yeah, Camden's in a bad spot. Like, his elbow's already up way high, so it's going to be difficult to retain that grip. One little last-ditch effort thing you can do here. I know I've probably done this with you before, because your dorsal Kimuras are, like, extremely powerful. Like, you set on and you rip them up, and it's a bad spot. Like, I try to plant off my bottom foot and elevate my hips, right? Like, if you think about it, what you're often trying to do to hide the Kimura is, well, I mean, what you're always trying to do to hide the Kimura is get the hand in front of the stomach, right? So if you can't pull the hand to the stomach, could you get your stomach to your hand, right? Could you elevate your hips and bring that in? And almost like it is such a late stage thing. Like if you're at that point, you're really grasping at straws. You know, Camden there had his arm trapped and everything, so it was a bad spot. But yeah, heisting your hips up might buy you a few more seconds, or force your opponent to rethink his control. Watch Aiden just skipping around Camden's guard. Staying well balanced, controlling the knees.
Yep.
Sprawling back a bit.
Yeah, Toriando. Points the knees in the opposite direction, steps around, right? Leg lock, shootout, Danny and Caleb. Danny just pushes in and gets to the top position.
Tony just hit a mounted Americana on Jacob as well.
Sweet.
What happened with Caleb and Danny here? So okay, I see.
So yeah. Danny just sits right up.
Gotcha.
So Caleb didn't have his left knee in between. His knee was on the outside. So Danny was it had total inside position here. This is why
essentially
it worked out in Danny's favor. Exactly. Yeah.
I mean, obviously not a traditional mount, but like his hips north without, you know, he was past Caleb's guard.
Yep.
You see Camden? Watch these two. So Camden gets his feet in.
Oh, sweet. I didn't see how he got into that position.
Yeah, and look at him. He ends up on a leg.
There we go.
Or
That's
at least attempting to attack a leg. A
Yeah.
straight ankle too, so nice and legal for a white belt. Oh, big dog's on the mat.
Danny couldn't dodge me this time.
He's known for his dodginess.
Yes.
Let's see, it looks like we got a few new people in the chat. I don't know if you're real people or not. But yeah, if you guys like what you see, give us a follow. Oh, you're definitely a bot. Yeah, give us a follow. Ask us some questions if you're curious about jiu-jitsu or if you train yourselves. So Caleb just tried. Was it a collar drag setup? Looked like he was just a falling tree there. Let's watch it in real time.
Yeah.
I put a little bit more drag on that, bud. So you're opting for more of a scoop grip with your underhook as opposed to like across to the far lat or even the far shoulder
why,
or
right?
tight waist.
Yeah, I mean, look at Danny's arms, right? Like Danny number one is known for his darce. If I go in at all, giving him the opportunity to whizzer down too hard, he's got long enough arms to where even if I get a far lat grip on Danny, he finds a way to find my neck with his right hand in order to attempt the darce. So I opt to go to the near side shoulder in order to prevent the darce. Basically, I mean, like the way to prevent the darce with the underhook is to go as high up as possible on the shoulders. So if I can't get to, like I've even struggled again with his long arms going even to his far trap. So I opted to go very, very deep to get around the darce. And then I'm still able to overturn him, right? So as soon as I can heist up, I can get a quick knee tap, and then just walk around his guard.
Yeah, I've found that Like that makes sense. Like going up real high to avoid the darce. Like there's like a Goldilocks zone for it, because you could also go way low around the leg, right? Like if you go down instead of like grabbing around the waist, almost going down into like a single leg position, or if you're confident in your tight elbow, belt grip, tight waist, you can kind of get away with it there, but it's still a vulnerable spot if he gets his hips away from you. But yeah, either way up high or way down low,
right,
can disrupt the darce threat.
It's interesting because because like Danaher always teaches the low underhook, and Tom opts for the high underhook.
Mm-hmm.
And when I asked Tom about it, he said, well, if you want to avoid the darce, you got to go high.
Yeah.
And if I don't know if you can zoom back, I don't know where my head position was, but that's also kind of a telltale. Do you see how my head is like near his shoulder here, and near his head? If I would have had to bury my head super deep underneath Danny in order to be able to be safe in that position, right? If I grabbed really low on him and my head was really high, he can shoot his arm through for the darce.
Yeah.
I would have to pin my ear to his belly in order for that to really work. And he was doing a really good job of keeping pressure on me very high up.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, you'd essentially just be working like a deep half guard at that point.
Exactly. Yeah. So he still has this overhook on me, and I'm not at all worried when somebody has that overhook
on
me.
Side?
I know it's on the other side. So like even when I came around,
I see.
It's quite easy. Like there's a lot of grips that people will get on you when you're trying to come around the guard that you think are really stifling, kind of like when somebody throws their legs up and tries to catch your arm in between their legs. Those kinds of things can really play with your mind when you're going, just like what Danny just did, right? He's shooting his hips up and he's actually trying to catch me in a triangle here.
Yeah.
But when he grabs my arm, it's kind of like, okay, what are you gonna do, right? So you can rip that out fairly easily.
Going to the reverse top lock. Didn't look good there, Danny. Let's look at Pat and Caleb here. I want to go back a bit, because it looked like Pat got himself to a fairly threatening north-south position here. At least he had Caleb moving. So he's working his like jacket lapel control.
What's up, Austin?
What's going on, dude? Late as usual. Treating this like it's class. Skipping the warm-ups. Okay, so I guess Caleb just gave him enough resistance at the maybe at the waist, or was burying his head. It was hard to see with the pillar there. Caleb's trying Danny's little trick. Yeah, you're not a purple belt yet. You don't skip the warm-ups. So right here, right? Caleb's in a great spot. Man, I just missed it. Did I not go back far enough? I'm trying to catch when he's bridging, right? So like a lot of times when I work with like first, like total newbie, first timer in like private lessons or whatever, we'll go over this concept where, like, if you think about side control, it's largely defined by, like, we'll look at Pat here. He's got his hips on one side and his head on the other side of Caleb's center line. If Caleb can figure out a way to get hips and head to the same side, he's not really in much of a pinning position anymore, right? Pat isn't in a pinning position anymore. So when he plants and uses this bicep across the face. What he's doing for a split second is getting Pat's head and hips on the same side of Caleb's body, right? That gives him opportunities to either, to work on getting frames in. It can bait a powerful response from Pat where, Caleb might be able to like roll Pat over and continue him. Although, it's hard to catch anybody above white belts in that sort of side control escape. But now you could see there, like he comes up off of that bridge, he shrimps his hips out, and if he got his right heel, or I'm sorry, his right knee in underneath Pat, he'd have the makings of a side guard, right? So you gotta fight if you're gonna use an explosive bridge like that and that bicep crossface. Recognize like the very next thing you should be doing is getting a hip frame in of some sort, and it's not a hard fast rule, but like getting your forearm at the hip in or getting your leg at the hip in is going to be a good beginning step to getting your guard back. Danny's a jumpy boy.
He is. He was mad. He was chewing his gum feverishly.
You can see it here.
He really wanted Darcy.
Oh man, I hate it when you do that to me.
And then right there, I said, "How does that feel, Danny?"
And I mean, look at what you get though to set that up, right? Danny's head is pretty low by the hips, and you have your forearm over the head. Like I could tell you're putting downward bending pressure in on the back of his head, and you've got just a simple frame on the hip to elevate. I assume actually he doesn't even really need to be driving himself forward, although it looks like he kind of is with
his hips are high.
Yeah, his hips are high, so I mean, you're almost like, I was gonna say you're maybe pulling yourself underneath him, but I mean, I don't even think you're really doing that. You're just catching him for a brief moment and getting him up and over.
I don't know what kind of name, what that is. It's I don't know. I found it with the with the guillotine, right? Like you'll catch somebody in a guillotine and then they'll try and apply the Von Flu choke on you, and you can sometimes take people over that way. And I've just seen it in side control a lot when somebody, like Matt said, puts their head down my hip, and their hips ride really, really high. But I don't know if there's a name.
I don't know what you'd call it. Maybe like a cross-side sweep or something.
Mm-hmm.
Round over.
So I was going for a bow and arrow choke. Just keep that in mind.
Did you have the see where your grips were at? Like you were trying to set up on the collar?
Yeah, so I had his near collar. I was pushing it down and trying to grab. So keep that in mind, because we wind up training right after. Like everybody else takes a different partner, and then we're stuck with each other again.
A little foreshadowing.
Yeah. I'm doing a Brazilian belt tie here.
Justin setting up his lapel trickery. Oh
Yep.
Man, let's look at what we can from that takedown. Actually, let's go back a little ways here. So it gets the funny thing about that, like unless you've rolled with Justin or somebody who plays a lot of lapel and like jacket stuff, you think like this is nothing, this is just really annoying, and then 5 seconds later, you're like, I can't move my arm right now. So he passes it up over the back. And this is kind of like that grip that Mitch had when he like hit that sacrifice throw in competition against the kid, where he had the jacket over the back pulled real tight so that he didn't need a body lock grip.
Mm-hmm.
So it gives you really good control over the shoulders while freeing up a hand. And here's what I can't see. Failed arm bars. We'll get back to that. I can't see how Justin's falling underneath. It almost looks like he's diving in on that leg, like sacrificing his back to the mat.
Then he underhooked his leg.
Yeah, I think that's what he's... Yeah. Okay, yeah. It's tricky. So failed arm part of the bow and arrow. Danny throwing shade.
We'll see. Isn't that the most effortless kipping escape ever? Didn't even have to kip.
Danny's just leaving his hips elevated 24/7, man.
Yeah.
I can't tell if Justin, do you remember if you were like, okay,
Ezekiel?
I couldn't tell if it was in Ezekiel or if it was just kind of like if he was digging in on a collar. Okay.
It was in Ezekiel.
Yeah.
Failed Ezekiel.
Heavy reaping. Love to see it. Watching Danny trying to navigate that, because like, so you're in kind of a strange position here, like, because you don't have a half guard.
No.
Right, but you're making it impossible for Danny to just slide up into mount with your pants grip here.
Mm-hmm.
So it's immobilizing his leg. He can't like ride up on the body.
Right. And he can't extract his leg to really pass around the backside of me.
Yeah.
Very easily because of the pants grip. In no gi, he would have been in a lot better passing position, but just that simple grab on the pants made it tough.
And that's why gi is stupid.
Mm-hmm.
Unless you're Justin. So you got, again, like, not even, I wouldn't even call it, like, it's not a clamp guard, right? But you got a really heavy overhook.
Yep.
I guess Danny just kind of gets a little off balance here.
Yeah, so you see how he's really trying to drive pressure to my, to the strong side. And so I actually take him over to the weak side because he's got so much weight over there that his knee starts closing in around my right foot. And so I just can take him that way.
Yeah.
It's just like like a takedown, right? When somebody commits really far onto that one side, it's really easy to kind of push them over. It's hard for them to base out.
Cam, I see you lurking in the chat. Did you go back and watch your tournament review? And I hope you're feeling better.
So here on Danny, I really wanted the rear triangle, and he was definitely not letting me do it. So I opted. I had to go for a full back control here.
Mm. Man, could it be a bow and arrow?
Almost not. But I do a fun roll. It's something Luke showed us in comp class like 3 years ago. So when you got, like...
Oh, the rolling bow and arrow entry?
Yeah, it's a rolling bow and arrow.
Man, the first time he showed me that, way back in the day, I could not do it without crushing my own head, and it hurt so bad every time. I'm like, if this is jujitsu, I'm not sticking around.
Yeah, all it is a shoulder roll, right?
Like if you go over your head, it's gonna hurt. If you know how to forward roll and you're not a dummy, it's a pretty easy move.
So you can't see, but he's flipping me off right there.
He only does that when he knows he's about to tap. So let's go back to Justin and Aiden. So Aiden, gotta adjust your guard here, because at this point I feel like Justin could just like kind of kip out of that, for lack of a better word, like just kind of get his hips up, clear his knees, and get free, right? Aiden doesn't really have much. It also looks like Aiden's head is completely broken off of his body right now. Do you see that?
I do. It was very uncomfortable.
His spine is at like a right angle at the neck. That looks so uncomfortable. All right, good. So it looks like Justin's using the opportunity, or trying to pass here.
Just by dragging Aiden's head really far. I mean, it's working.
There you go. Yes.
And then he slips right into a mount.
Yeah, hopping the hips out. More of a crank, to be honest. Well, it's coming up again. We'll review it.
Yeah.
So, all right. So Justin's back in like a half. Or no, I think he's back in that. Okay, it is half guard. Yeah. Nah, that was pure strangle.
Yeah, based off the gargling noises that he was making, it was definitely strangle.
So Justin, you're definitely a little overextended here. Just in general, like I don't know what your strategy was for the night, or if you were like looking for certain things. Focus on breaking that guard in this position, right? In fact, like you should be able to feel where his legs are relative to your hips right now, right? Like they're down around your quads, which is barely a guard at all, right? And I feel like if you feel that, you should be able to. Like, you should know that it's not going to take much for his feet to pop open at that point. If you've overcommitted up top, though, it's going to be difficult for you to make that transition, posturing up, or like walking yourself back and then trying to break in on his knee to open his guard up. And then once you're overextended like this, it's an opportunity for him to start lodging an attack. I believe in you, man. Yeah, and same thing here. I will never say that like certain things will never work or always work. But when you're in guard, I don't see the benefit in attempting submissions, like, because even, especially with a one like this where it's, a strangle, it's your hands doing the work. His hands are free to fight your hands, and it does nothing to address the true problem, which is the closed guard around your waist, right? So focus your efforts on opening his legs instead of hitting submissions when you're in the closed guard, especially anything that's going to get your arms extended away from your body and leave you open for arm bars and triangles and anything like that. Alright, we're just sitting around chatting. There we go. Justin's stepping up. Oh, is Caleb trying foot sweeps now? So that was better than his previous falling takedown attempt. I guess more successful. But I'm still gonna pick it apart. Actually, you're the collar drag aficionado. What would you do here?
So he has an. Well, first I want to see, does he have a near side or a cross collar?
Cross collar, it looks like.
He does have.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, with those, I like to. I don't like to pull over the body. I like to so if I was Caleb, I'd be pulling to get Justin on the other side of me, right? So I'd be pulling to the same side arm and looking in that direction, right? Like that's the way that I like to set these up.
Like what? So you mean with like a same side grip?
No, or a cross grip. But
okay.
Like if we since you have it freeze framed here, right? He has the lapel. He has the cross lapel with the right hand on the right hand side of Caleb's body.
Mm-hmm.
And if he were to just execute it now, I would be pulling Justin across my right side.
Gotcha.
And taking my left his right leg and sitting it onto the right side of Justin's body as I'm dragging Justin down.
Gotcha.
And I'm looking.
So you'd be
in the
pulling.
Direction,
yeah.
Yeah, and looking in the direction that I want Justin to go.
Gotcha. So he just took it the opposite way. And
that's right, over top.
Yeah, and I wouldn't even like this is less. I think this finish is less of a collar drag and more of like a almost like a Tayatoshi kind of finish, right?
Or Seoinage. Like he has a Seoinage here, right? Like
but he doesn't drop to his knees or get underneath the hips. He kind of goes off to the side.
Right. But yeah, I don't know what judo throw that would be considered, like what variation or whatever. I'm definitely not good at that. It probably could be like some sort of Tayatoshi.
Like a Yoko Tayatoshi or something?
Yeah.
Which I know that is a thing, because I saw an Olympian judoka do that, and that's what they called it. Suicide throw? I mean, I guess because, yeah, if you're it is a sacrificial throw, right? So you're
absolutely
putting your back to the mat and hoping for the best. Yeah.
If anything, it could be considered a Sasai, or even Haragoshi. Hang on, what is it? Haragoshi? No, not Haragoshi.
Just give up. You don't know.
I know, I don't know, but it's a Sasai would be like a lower leg trip on that far leg.
Yeah, yeah.
A Haragoshi is like the middle one, the one that Craig Jones likes to do.
Good hip control. Trying to crush your floating ribs. Nice. Got the head out. Okay. Nice.
Got out of it. Nice.
Cool. Let's look at that again. So, that's good. Like, what I was afraid was gonna happen was as you're walking. Just remember, like right here, you're kind of sliding your back along the mat. Justin, as early as you can, switch your hips over, right? So so your chest should be pointing down at the mat as soon as you can. That makes it a lot easier to do what happens here, where you've slipped your head out, right? So you hitchhiked, you got all the way around, you slipped the head out. That's the crucial thing there, is getting your head from one side of the hips to the other. Switching your hips will help you get there a little bit earlier. And then yeah, Caleb was smart on the get up here, right? He beat you to the punch on the omoplata, but yeah, he powered through on the somersault.
And that lies the reason why, at least when we teach arm bars, we don't go through the quarter juji very much. So this is a quarter juji gatami, or a quarter arm bar. The reason it's called a quarter is because Caleb's left leg has a very strong crossface on Justin, but his body side leg is non-existent, right? It's a knee that's posted against the hip. So judo players use this a lot, and it's a very fast finish, right? The problem with this, the flaw in this quarter position, is that it leaves no body side trap for Caleb to prevent the hitchhiker escape. Yeah. So if Justin plays more of like a devil may care, like he throws his arm to where he's pointing his thumb down towards the mat, like he's doing here, and gets his body out of the way, switches his hips, as Matt said, and starts rotating around, there's no body side leg to prevent that movement.
And yeah, Justin, here for an omoplata escape, you have the right idea with the roll. It's a little bit difficult now that he's got it's very difficult now that he has his arm over your hips. One of the very first things you could try is limp arming out of this, and just go limp with your arm and not in that direction. Try to pull your shoulders out in this direction and just whip your hand into the ground, right? It's that's a common wrestler thing, like to get out of think about how you would extract your arm from a whizzer, right? If someone's whizzering on your arm really hard, you can just kind of turn your hand palm up, let it go limp, and then extract it as fast as you can. Caleb, it looks like he's got a pretty tight wrist control on you there. So I honestly probably would have done what you did and try to force my way through it on the somersault. But just another submission or an escape option you can work from that spot. And then I guess for Caleb, we should probably tell him, right? When you're looking to finish this, right, when you get to here, for the omoplata, what you want to do is get your feet pointing in this way, and like bring them behind you. Almost, it's going to be hard to describe, but like if you were seated with, like, just how Caleb's seated here, if he was seated with his legs out in front of him and he wanted to stand up or get to a kneeling position without the use of his hands, right? Planting on the ground. He could kind of turn his knees, kink them to one side, pull his feet back towards his butt underneath him, and then start to sit up, right? So you want to get your feet around this way, and then elevate your hips, kind of like you're coming up on the knee, which is going to put the pressure. It's going to put downward pressure on his shoulder, and your hips moving forward is what's going to torque the arm into that Kimura style position. So your foot placement here would be the very first thing I would tweak if you wanted to get the omoplata.
Mm-hmm.
And then here, since you have his bicep trapped, if you're a dick like Luke, you would just bicep slice him. Or wrist lock him even. What was he trying to do with that roll? Or I guess did Justin just have him?
I think he still had the arm. I think he was trying to figure out what he can do with that arm. If he can get back into
maybe back to the omoplata.
Yeah, but it did not work out, whatever he was doing. More power to you for trying, but
yeah. Alright. Justin, you're in a great spot here. So he was so annoyed that he gave his back up or nice. Put his back to the mat. Let you take top position.
Lapel wizardry.
Is that the cowboy strangle setup?
Does not look like Caleb liked that very much.
Let's come back again. It's fun. I mean, the last time I think we saw you do this, you were doing it on me, and it was a bad angle, so. Okay.
I mean, whether it
That's
works for the strangle or not, you get from turtle into a top position.
Yeah.
So, I mean,
and
I
it
really
works.
Like that. Yeah.
It works for a strangle, for sure.
Yeah.
And it looks like you got the tap on it, right? Oh, no, okay. Damn, he extracted it.
Fingers probably hurt after that one, though.
Yeah, right. Oh, okay.
Gotcha.
So I'm kind of curious what Caleb's intention is. Watch how he gets his body side frame in, right? How he slips his arm in, but he's doing it hand first, right? Like maybe he's trying. I wonder if he's considering like it can't be the ghost escape or whatever you want to call it.
Mm-hmm. The ghost pass. Yeah.
I've stopped calling it a ghost pass because
it's not a pass.
Luke pointed that out to me. I'm like, oh yeah, it's not a pass. Why would anybody call it that? But it looked like he did. Okay, he was reaching in for the lapel. Yeah, I saw his it looked like he had, like right there, he has a lapel on you. Okay.
Or south choke.
Yeah, you make him.
Now he's going for an Ezekiel. trying to go for the north-south choke on you from bottom.
This is great, man. You guys both are just like
back and forth.
Yeah, you're throwing stuff at each other. Each of you has responses for either positional or submission escapes. And then even as the escape succeeds, you guys are right back onto either trying to advance your position or hitting like another submission attempt. Killer round, man. That was really good.
Yeah.
You guys both look good. Oh, and then you took your gis off.
Yeah, notice that Justin doesn't have a gi on.
Yeah, it's like cutting Samson's hair, man. Now I'm useless.
I lost all my grips.
Dan Hurd would have had you keep your gis on. He's very disappointed. One of these days, man, Danny, watch this grip break Danny does with his leg. Mm-hmm. Does that all the time. And one of these days, we need to invent something that is just like a catastrophic counter to that move. Because having Danny's rebar-like shin slamming against my wrist is one of my least favorite things in the world. Let's see what he did here.
Went for the arm bar.
Yeah.
And it looked pretty deep too.
Yeah, it did. Justin's elbow was just on the other side of Danny's legs. So we know Danny traps the leg and is looking to push the head down to get his reverse triangle.
Justin's trying his damnedest to keep his head buried, which is good.
You know, I'm gonna call this out now, just because I had the idea, and I don't even know if it'll work. But I'm gonna let Danny do this to me next time I roll with him, and I'm gonna dive my free arm into it, so it won't be a triangle, and I'm gonna use it as an entrance to the legs, and then I'm gonna break Danny's knees. Because I hate when I get caught in this. Can you sweep his other leg while his knee is up? What are we talking about? Sweep his...
Oh, for the takedown. Probably for the takedown.
So, yeah, for the takedown. Yes, in theory, right? But it's such a quick stomp. Like, you have to catch him super quickly, right? I mean, like, this is... Go back a few frames, right? I mean, this is regular speed, just up and down, right? So it's a hard thing to catch. You'd have to like time it really, really well. Look at Joe being complimentary. Joe, we had a new intro student come in yesterday who is like the midway point between you and Cole. Like, he's a Marine and he rucks, and he I think he's training for a bodybuilding competition next year. So he's like this Frankenstein of you and Cole. I'm really hoping he signs up.
Into the Darce. Or sorry, this is Anaconda.
And Justin doesn't care.
Confusing. So can we go back a few frames into how Danny got out of bottom? Let's keep going back. So here he's in that north-south position. He's got the arm, and that's all fine and good. But watch what he does. He actually uses his left knee, to fish on the inside, So you got to think, like, Justin's arm is in between Danny's legs right now. I think, and he's using a frame. So Danny's using a frame, I think, on probably Justin's stomach, like, trying to get close to his hip, and he's using his left leg to fish his knee in against Justin's chest. And then from here, he's got a nice anchor on the shoulder with his right arm. He fishes in, and then he starts to, then he turns his body, since he's got his knee in, right around there to get to the regard. And instead of going straight for a regard in typical Danny fashion, he tries to suit up for the triangle here again. And I think backs off. So now he's going back to the guard position. There you go. And then right into the front headlock. Long ass arms into the anaconda.
So why do you think this anaconda didn't work?
Because Justin's head is down on the floor. If Justin's head was more so on Danny's chest, then I think the strangle would have been really tight. I think it's as simple, I think it was as simple as that. I just know that when I've had the best luck finishing the anaconda, I know in Danaher says to put the head like in the armpit. Lachlan Giles says to put it up on the chest. And for me, at least, I've always had better luck having the head up on my chest.
It's like from here.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. So in this particular case, what I would do if I were Danny was I would go flat to my back and I would pull Justin's head on top of me, on top of my chest. And then once I'm there, I would reach up and cinch up as tight as I possibly can, shoot my hips up, capture with my legs, capture Justin's arm that's framing on his hip right now. Yep. And then I think the strangle would be tighter that way.
Oh, look at Danny controlling at the foot.
Yep.
But yeah, that was a strange leg entrance. Just like an odd angle how he got into that. Going for the far leg here. I mean, keep in mind, man, you're one step away with your right leg into cross ashi on the near side leg, rather than having to pull him towards you and then jumping over into the far side.
Yep. And then here, the basic ankle lock, right, that we teach is knees pinching. But the more complex, I think the better form of ashigarami is to have the left foot onto the hip, right foot hooking into the hamstring. So yeah. I don't know, Danny, if you were trying to set something else up or just trying to see what kind of look Justin would give you on this.
No real hip control.
Yeah.
Oh. All right, so let's see if Danny finishes this. So we've been talking a lot about this at class, especially after Austin's entrance into it at the competition, right? So he's in a reverse triangle. Looks like, is he trying to attack the arm here?
I think he is.
Giving him two things to think about. Okay,
Yeah.
he tapped early. So yeah, it looked like it was maybe more from the shoulder, the danger on the shoulder than the strangle. I don't know. Justin does look a little exasperated there.
Where
You
was
tell
his
us,
knee?
man. It was above the ear.
Okay.
Yeah, like when he locked it up, like the knee's almost behind the head at this point, right? Justin's looking in that direction.
It was a shoulder.
Was a shoulder. Okay, yeah. Yeah, and that's the thing. Like, I think we talked about this yesterday, I want to say. Yeah, so even a reverse triangle that isn't in a strangling position, which again we talked about how if this is the line that matches your ears, right? Danny wants his knee on this side of the line right here, not this side where it currently is. That's to make it a strangle. Even when you don't have that, or you don't feel confident that you can like make that switch, you still have a tremendous amount of control. You got the power of your legs controlling the head and the shoulders. So the fact that Danny has this set up, isn't using the strangle, but is using the control of it to then attack a very isolated limb right now, is like a perfectly reasonable approach to making this position work for you. It's a way to adapt that. And it's funny, you could see Danny like thinking through, like, I want to Americana him, but like, how do I grip this to do it? And then he gets it. And honestly, like, I mean, I don't think I've ever Americana'd anybody from that angle before, so I'd probably be hitting every single combination of grips that I could before I finally found the right one. So I don't know if you and Caleb are in a gentleman's agreement to not grip the pants.
We are.
Okay.
Yep.
All right. If you weren't, Caleb, just keep in mind on this back step, if you control that pant leg of Mike's, that back step will be a lot more effective. So it's one thing, since you guys aren't gripping pants, you could possibly get a hand on the knee and try to like keep the leg, Mike, you're like here, like look at the range of motion on the knee, right? Like how it swings over. If Caleb was able to plant on that knee and then backstep, he may have been more effective in the pass.
I agree.
Yeah.
I do that. I know I do it.
Yeah. Oh, now you're on that arm.
Yep.
I don't know why Danny let go of that. Between the gift wrap and the isolated arm, that's a pretty powerful spot. Looks like you guys are just being friendly though. He's like, I actually just want another triangle. Doesn't look like he's being very nice here, Justin. Oh. Thought you were gonna roll him over. Dang, I wish we could see what Caleb was doing with your leg.
He went into a straight ankle lock.
Okay. Which he must not know that you don't tap to those. All right, so let's see if we could find Danny's almost ouchie. I really want to see Caleb working. I mean, so like, if he's committing himself to learning and brushing up on sacrifice throws, that's perfectly fine. Like, they're a great tool. But I don't see much of him using his height and weight as an advantage. Mm-hmm. Right? And like, you know, obviously if he was like rolling with, you know, a first day white belt or something, I wouldn't want to see that. But like up against Danny, I mean, like, I want to make Caleb have like an impromptu, you know, 30-minute lesson with Bertram like we've all had before, where it's just like, no, we're doing takedowns for the next half hour, and you're gonna pummel for underhooks and make this work. What's up, Mango? How you doing, man? But like, right, you know, right here, you see the height difference is obvious. Danny's got wide open arms right now, like perfect chance to pummel for underhooks. You know, moving, he can push and pull and move guys around to get openings on the legs quite easily, I would think. So like the collar drags, cool, you know, that the little pull he did there, that's fine. But he definitely has a whole universe of takedowns he can explore that don't involve him going to the mat first. How's training going, Mango?
This is it right here.
Oh, so this is... Ah, God.
Look at Justin. Look at Justin.
I want to see Justin's reaction more than... It's just, oh. But yeah, let's look at that. Let's look at this one more time.
Congrats, man. First strike.
Hell yeah, dude. That's great, right, man.
Damn. Danny's like, I don't know why I'm hurt all the time.
So Caleb's been working this like Americana variation that Bertram taught him that I really wish Bertram didn't teach him. But yeah, it's that like weird step around with like the arm weave.
Mm-hmm.
Oh my God, there are cats fighting outside my window. It's that time of year. I'm gonna have to get the hose. That was great. And yeah, that was super deep. I mean, let's look at why, like what Caleb could have done to tighten that up. First off, don't go to the back. Like don't fall to the back. I imagine right here, Caleb probably had that arm torqued up pretty good.
Oh yeah.
Right? So had he actually pushed into Danny and kept Danny pinned in like that north-south position here,
mm-hmm, it would have been tough for him to roll out of it and obviously sit up, right?
Yeah, like I want to say I don't think that this was a good time for the back step. Right? Because that just switches his hips and gets his stomach, pointing upwards, right? His chest pointing upwards, which gives Danny the opportunity to become more mobile, right? And right there, it slipped out. And maybe Caleb was being merciful because he saw how torqued up it was. I don't know. Justin's reaction, though, is my favorite thing of all time. That was great.
Nice regard by Danny.
Gross.
Similar concept to what he did in an earlier match with Justin.
Oh yeah, with the north-south regard.
Yeah. Yes. And Caleb's passing has been super heavy.
So, Mango, there are a few answers to that question. Some guys don't even wash their belts, and they're disgusting. Don't be like them. Honestly, I don't do anything to it. The tape normally, it'll last pretty long. Yeah, it's gross. Belts harbor all the same bacteria that your gi will, so wash it. Yeah, if the stripe comes off, just put another stripe on. Lesser athlete would have tapped. Yeah, I probably would have tapped.
That's exactly what he said when it happened too.
What, lesser athlete would have tapped?
Yeah.
Yeah, if you want, man, you could super glue it on or something. But if it falls off, you just get another one, or tell your coach and he'll put another one on.
It adds to the patina, right? Like it
Yeah.
just like the washing is it'll make it curl in and stuff. I think it makes it look more badass.
You want your belt to be a little beat up.
Yeah.
It's about as far as I go. I'm not the kind of guy who wants to get cauliflower ear, but I want my belt to look a little beat up.
I didn't want it either. It wasn't like I was going out searching for cauliflower ear.
I have trained with guys. Just yeah. Yeah, just skip the next 3 stripes and just get a blue belt.
There you go.
Yeah, that was J-Rod Rodriguez with a buggy choke of all things. His bigger brother Nicky Rod did the same at 2019. He was a blue belt, and I believe he won trials. Yeah,
but J-Rod took out everybody with a submission.
Yeah,
he finished every single match with a sub.
Yeah, that was remarkable.
That was sick. Yeah, props to that kid.
Let's go back on this rear naked real quick.
I mean, you think Cole Abbott got into trials?
Abate?
Or Abate?
Yeah.
I didn't know that's how you said it, but yeah, Abate got in his as a blue belt. I think he's now a purple though.
Yeah, belts don't matter at that level.
And J-Rod got promoted afterward. Craig Jones gave him his purple belt.
Nice.
After he finished the buggy choke. I
mean, that's a hell of a performance for a kid his age and experience level.
Yeah.
And that's to see it's the submissions that really seals it for me. Like he didn't go out there and score 2 and lay and pray or anything like that, which even in ADCC it's not the easiest thing to do. But yeah, he was just dominant. So Danny should be working to get his own Revenge Americana right now. That would make this super sweet. But easier said than done.
It's a hell of a fight.
Yeah.
Nice mount.
Good stuff.
That wraps it up.
Good sportsman-like finish. Cool. All right, guys. Let's see. Yeah, we'll get back on schedule. The competition review just kind of switched things up for this week, so we didn't want to leave out the gi stuff from last week. And then Sunday we'll either do, I don't know, we'll see what footage we have on hand, either gi or no gi, and then back to our regular schedule after that. Thoughts on the scarf fold? Go ahead.
I got the no gi rendered and uploaded and everything, so that's good to go now.
Sweet. Thoughts on Scarfold? I've been getting people with pressure taps and leg arm bars Americanas, but in the video didn't really get used. Like in what we reviewed, it didn't get used. I'll assume that's what you mean. So yeah, like for example, yeah, Danny here towards the end, he gets into so here's the thing with when you call it Scarfold, you know, we know it as Keisagatame, and then there's like another variation where you either have the arm around the head like Danny does here, or you have the arm like underhooking this arm and then around the head. So depending on what you mean when you talk about Scarfold, is going to kind of dictate what you use that position for. I considered this position, what Danny has, to be a bit more offensive. You're not controlling under both shoulders, so you have a bit more you have more options for what you can control. And like you said, the leg arm bars and Americanas, classic go-to from there. And then you have things like compression chokes. It's a perfectly viable position. These are my thoughts on it. I tend to not use it offensively because when someone has put me in that position, I've gotten pretty proficient in escaping to the back, and I don't want that happening to me. So I use it more as a transitory position to get from like I've lost the hip frame in side control, so I'll wipe my hips up the body, sit to Keisa or scarf hold, you know, get his arm back out from framing me, and then I'll switch back to side control. Everybody's going to use it differently. I mean, I'm pretty confident Danny has probably Americana'd me from this position before. It's just a matter of getting that arm isolated and out. How do you use Keisa when you use it these days?
Me?
Yeah.
I always go, so my take on, so Keisagatame, I think like judo, Japanese Keisagatame is how Danny has it held right here, which is the arm over the head. Scarf hold is what, you know, I think call it as well. And then there's another Japanese name for when you have the arm. So instead of Danny's right arm being under the head, it would be under the far arm. I prefer under the far arm because of the reason you stated. Like, I always escape this position to somebody's back. Mm-hmm. But to be honest with you, I use it, again, with the arm, not without the arm, as a transition period. So I'm normally trying to capture the elbow, put somebody either back into flat on their back and going into a north-south position, or going into, you know, back into a side control.
Yeah.
That's how I use it.
Yeah. So I think, I don't know, I don't want to, not like we're high-level guys or anything like that, but I think more when you're going against a more experienced person, they'll have answers for the eventual you know, arm attacks, things like that. It's an easy position to use a bridging escape against your opponent. So yeah, I don't know, I just feel like offensively it's less successful for me these days, but control wise, that tends to be where I use it.
Yeah, I mean, you always go back to the Josh Barnett versus Dean Lister.
Right.
In Metamoris or whatever. That one, Dean tapped to a chest compression from Keisagatame.
Yeah.
Josh Barnett. I am not Josh Barnett, so I'm not going to be tapping anybody to to compression chokes. They're not in my game.
Yeah.
But some people are really, really good at it and can hone that hone that in really well.
Yeah.
So
Yeah, catch wrestlers especially.
Yeah, of course.
But cool. Yeah, good question. Thanks for throwing it out there. It's definitely what we want you guys to do. So
absolutely.
In any case, yeah, for real. And I mean, look at our boy Austin, right? He's a white belt who understands the utility of the triangle and its impact with his body type, and he's found crazy success with it. A few months into training, right? So it's when you can. I always tell people like, focus on position escapes and later submission escapes, things like that. But when you find, in class, you're finding like some weird success or like some cool interest in a submission, or a position that leads to submissions, and it's working really well for you, there's no harm in diving in on that and like let that be the seed to your offensive game, right? And let that grow and take you wherever it does. And then you get to eventually tie all the things together and build a strategy, and not just have these specific little tactics. But yeah, knowing your body type and the things that work to your strengths is crucial for that.
And also realize that like as you continue your journey, like shit's gonna change too. So like what you may be very proficient at Keisagatame right now and really start getting into the arm bars and the compression chokes and things, and in 6 months or so you may find something different that you really hone in on, and that's good, right? Like that's just opens up your game even more. I mean, there were times where I was hitting triangles left and right, and then months go by before I'll hit a triangle in training, right?
Yeah, like, I can't remember the last time you did. I know you've triangled me before.
Yeah, it just happens like that.
Heel hooks, as a white belt, you have one stripe on your white belt. This is going to come down to your school and your coach's rules and everything.
Yeah.
We teach heel hooks, right? But along with it, we make sure everybody knows they're a different animal, right? You tap. I always tell white belts when we're going over heel hooks, you tap to an armbar because it hurts and then it pops. And with heel hooks, they pop and then they hurt, right? And that's not something you want to, it's not something you want to do in your training. So we are all for learning heel hooks at any stage. You just best not hit them in training at full speed. Yeah, Steven.
Yes, Steven.
Best to not hit them at speed, and like I was actually just talking about it with my coach yesterday, Coach Bertram, who, he's still developing his heel hook game, right? It was new to him over the last few years as well, and he was asking me like about how do I know when to tap, right? Because it's this pressure thing, and my threshold is when there's a wrist on my heel, that's when I'm starting my escape, right? When I can't escape, that's when I'm tapping. I don't give a shit about pressure or holding out on it or making the guy, get it. I react early to them. And if like you can train that as a white belt and get the, slowly get the feel down for, okay, now I know I'm in danger. Now I know which way I can escape and which way I can't escape, and all those little nuances. Learn the heel hooks, man. Just respect them, take them seriously, and by all means, man, ask your coach first. Don't tell him some dumbasses on Twitch were telling you to go learn heel hooks.
Randos on the internet, right?
Yeah, with great power. I told James last week when we were rolling, I said, you're a blue belt now. I don't care about your ankles or your knees. I was like, I'm going to heel hook you all the time now.
Fucking guy strangled me before. Everything's game for me.
Yeah, Jesus. Right? Cool. Well, good stuff today, guys, and good chat. And we appreciate all the questions and comments and everything. I still need to publish last week's stuff or Sunday's stuff to YouTube, but take it easy, man. Go keep on working. Get your next stripe. Dude, if you're training 4 days a week and going crazy with it, you'll be progressing in no time.
Absolutely.
See you later, Justin.
Later.
But yeah, you know the deal. It's on YouTube. Subscribe there. Follow us here if you're lurking in the chat. Subscribe if you like what you're seeing. It really helps us out a lot. And what else? Yeah, I keep forgetting to say it, but remember, you can always get class attendance for this. So I should probably mention that at the beginning of the stream and not at the very end. What else? I think we're gonna be.
Remember to subscribe if you can, right?
Yes. Oh, and then July 22nd or 23rd, whatever, that Saturday, competition.
23rd.
So I think we're going to be stepping up our preparations for that. We're going to put in a nice long camp to get us all up to speed. So be ready, guys. Come to class, keep training, do your laundry, trim your nails, don't be stinky. And we will see you back on the mats.
See you tomorrow.
Later.
Later.